Future state. Restoration of statehood should be at the start of the revival of the democratic process in Jammu and Kashmir. Political leaders from Jammu and Kashmir who attended a meeting called by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday came away with a sense of optimism. Restoration of statehood is somewhere on the horizon, even if a total reversal of the withdrawal of the special status remains unlikely. The meeting itself was a surprise and came at a time when expectations of any quick resolution were very low. But the fact that a spectrum of political leaders got the invitation from the center without any set preconditions had raised hope of progress. Eventually, the meeting gave reason to Kashmir's political class to believe in possibilities that did not seem to exist just a week earlier. But restoration of statehood to Jammu Kashmir, which was reorganized as two union territories, should be the first step in the revival of the democratic political process and not the culmination of some elaborate negotiation strategy. Mr. Modi described the meeting as an important step in the ongoing efforts towards a developed and progressive Jammu and Kashmir. While committing to strengthen grassroots democracy, he called for quick delimitation of constituencies after which legislative polls could be held. Home Minister Amit Shah insisted that restoration of statehood will follow delimitation and elections. Not surprisingly, many participants were not convinced by this sequence suggested by the center. But the positives are that the long meeting was free-wheeling, without rancor, and all parties were united in the demand for the restoration of statehood. Most participants also sought an assurance to return the domiciliary rights concerning land and state services, but considering the BJP's strident position, this might be difficult. As Mr. Modi argued, the focus must be on the future, but this will have to be built on the trust and cooperation of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Decades of turmoil have created unique problems of grievance and mistrust. The NC and the PDP will, with all their deficiencies, remain India's best messengers to the people of the valley. In deciding to engage them and other parties, the center has made a departure from its earlier position. By seizing the opportunity, these parties also showed maturity. Global and domestic factors might have nudged the center towards what appears to be a tentative accommodation of other viewpoints. But the political challenge to its decision to hollow out Article 370 is all but fading. The restoration of statehood has been placed so far down the path that any discussion on special status is unthinkable in the near future. In that sense, the center and the BJP have irreversibly reset the conversation on Jammu and Kashmir. That success should not blind them to the resentment among the people. Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah will have to look forward to the future rather than being bound by their past rhetoric on Kashmir. Top play. Euro 2020 seems to belie fears of subdued performances due to the pandemic. Conservative play is often international football's bugbear. National team players spend very little time together for attacking structures and synchronous moves to develop, and the safety first approach always seems around the corner. Ahead of Euro 2020, there were fears that players will be less on the front foot because of the physical and mental toll the COVID-19 pandemic had exacted. By that yardstick, Euro 2020 has thus far proved to be an entertaining affair, with the enthralling play matching the energy of the returning fans. Compared to the previous edition's group stage, there have been 25 goals more and 4 fewer matches with 1 goal or less, with just 2 goals draws. Overall, 15 of the 16 countries in the knockouts have a better group stage record than champion Portugal 5 years ago. Top sides such as the Netherlands, Italy, Belgium, and Spain have not moved away from their lively, pressing style of football. Despite the tournament coming at the fag end of a long and tiring season, world champion France has not been swashbuckling but seems efficient. While Portugal is always a threat with Cristiano Ronaldo around 5 goals and 1 assist. Denmark has been the feel-good story, recovering from talisman Christian Eriksen's on-field collapse owing to cardiac arrest in its opening match to make it to the next round. Eriksen is now out of danger and Denmark has quickly become the neutral's choice. However, it remains to be seen how much of the positivity spills over into the round of 16, which begins in Amsterdam on Saturday with the Denmark-Wales clash. If ever there was a time for cautious play, it is now, with the competition essentially a single elimination winner take all affair. France, having won the 2018 World Cup, knows a way around such situations, and with midfielder Paul Pogba in imperious form, it remains the favourite. Italy has been the standout team with its young and energetic outfit coached by the astute Roberto Mancini, expected to go far and bury the ghosts of 2018 when it did not qualify for the World Cup. Belgium's golden generation, led by Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, and Romelu Lukaku, seems well placed to realize the dreams of a first major trophy. But its shaky defense needs some soaring up, first against Ronaldo's Portugal. The most anticipated pre-quarterfinal clash will however be between England and Germany at Wembley, but both sides have been middling so far with their halo significantly dimmed. Germany in particular was minutes away from elimination before Leon Goretzka's deflected goal against Hungary saved the day. But the weight of history can hang heavy on England, for it has won just 3 out of 11 competitive fixtures against Germany the last coming 20 years.